In this video, I'm going to take you through a workout which is specifically to prevent your back becoming an issue. So all the movements are there to keep your back moving, to help stretch out tight muscles, to strengthen weaker muscles which might contribute to back pain. It's not a treatment if you're already suffering with back pain. So if you're already suffering with back pain, I'd recommend you see a physio. They might suggest some of these exercises that we're going to go through, but just to be sure, it's worth seeing a physio if you're in pain. But this is something that can help prevent that pain in the future. So I'll take you through a bit of a stretchy warm-up first. So you're going to go through some roll downs first, and you're going to do 10 of these. You're going to make sure your feet are under your hips. You're going to keep your bum as tucked in as you can, and you're going to try and keep your legs stiff. They don't need to be locked straight, but slight bend in the knee, keep your legs stiff, and then from there, a proper roll down, you're trying to get as much bend in your spine as you can. So chin towards chest, roll your shoulders forwards, and then creep your fingers down your legs. And if you just go for 10 of those, don't do them too fast. If you can gradually work your way a little bit lower, do that. And you're going to go for 10 of these. So remember at the top, straighten up. So at the top of the roll down, you're going to take your shoulders back, tuck your chin in, and then send your chin back down and roll down. I've lost count, I'm going to go for one more. And then once you've done your 10 of those, you're going to go for a chest opening stretch. So if your chest's forward, it's going to be pulling a little more on your mid-lower back. So open your chest up, you're going to stand half an arm's length away from the wall. So that's about an elbow width away from the wall. You're going to start with your hand behind you, step forward with your inside foot, lean forward and stretch your chest, hold for a second, take it back, hand up the wall a little higher, same again, step forward, hold for a second or two, and back, and then higher again, step forward, hold for a second or two, and then step back. And you're going to go through that 3 times on one side. So you're going 3 stretches, 3 times through. Keep moving your hand around so you're getting all the different angles of the chest. And once you've done 3 times on one side, you're going to do 3 times on the other side. Same thing, hand behind you, hand a little higher, and then next one even higher. So once you've done that 3 times one side, 3 times the other side, always stepping forward with your inside foot. Make sure you are moving your hand around so you're getting all the different stretches, pulling. You might feel it pull into your bicep, but ideally you feel it stretch across your shoulder and into your chest. And once you've done both sides 3 times, from there you're going to go into a 90-90 stretch. You don't have to have a mat for this. But you're going to sit on your bum. Hands go behind you just to begin with, and then you're going to rock your knees over one way. And it's called a 90-90 stretch because you've got a 90-degree bend at one knee, 90-degree bend at the other knee. From that position, you're going to make sure this hand is in line with your hips. So make sure it's not way back here or too far forward, somewhere in line with your hips. And then you're trying to reach with your spare arm as far through that gap there as you can do. So you're going to reach as far through as you can, hold for a second, take the stretch off, reach through and pull back. And you're going to do 10 on one side. So I'll run through 10 on this side, and I'll run through 10 on the other side. Each time, you're trying to get a little further. You might get a few clicks around your spine. It's not a bad thing. So 10 one side, exactly the same. So you're going to flip your knees over the other way, still getting that 90-90 position. Put your hand in line with your hips. 10 stretches the other side. And you're really trying to reach through. you want to think about sending this shoulder through your arm, if that feels more comfortable, go for that. Once you've done your 10 on each side, you can stand up again. Over to something to lean against, doesn't need to be a wall, but you're going to go for some quad pulses. So you're going to hold your foot behind you, knees should be fairly close together, not apart, and then from there, tuck your bum in a little bit so that you're tucking your tailbone down between your legs, you're tilting your pelvis backwards. And then from there, trying to maintain this kind of neutral spine back position, you're going to try and pull your knee backwards and also try and use your bum to pull your knee backwards. So you're going to pull with your hand and pull with your bum. So you're going to try and squeeze your bum and pull backwards. And you try not to flay your ribs out as you do it. So ribs staying down, pull back, and you should feel it really tighten up the front of your quad or up the front of your thigh. You're going to do 10 with a little pause at the back position. Once you've done your 10 one side, 10 the other side. So squeeze in. Make sure your knees are close together. Make sure you're really tucking your bum, but also using it to drive back as you pull with your arm. So you've got 10 of those on each side. Once you've done your 10 of those, you're going to move on to a tail wag. So a tail wag is, imagine you've got a tail, or as if you've got a tail. Knees start together. I'd recommend you put your knees on something soft. If you've got a mat, use a mat. You can use a cushion if you've got a cushion. Hands go under your shoulders. Knees are together. And from that position, you're going to lift your feet off the floor and you're going to do 10 each side. So alternate sides, you can do 20 in total. You're going to wag your feet round one way and try and look at them. And you're going to go the other way and look the other way. And all the time you're trying to keep your back fairly neutral. You're not trying to round it up, you're not trying to arch it, you're trying to keep your spine in that neutral position other than a twist round to each side. So 20 of those. Don't do them too fast. Try and really stretch as far out as you can each time. So it's feet going one way, look towards your feet so you're getting that stretch down one side of your back and then the other side. From there, once you've done your 20 of those, you can stay in that position. Maybe put your feet, or your knees, sorry, a little wider so they're under your hips. And then you're going to do a cat-cow move, which is where you're going to really round your back, tuck your chin, tuck your bum, and you're rounding your spine as high towards the ceiling as you can. And then you're dropping your stomach towards the floor, looking up, so you get a big arch in your back. So you're flexing your back or bending your spine as much as you feel like you can. Really think when you're arching your back, really tuck your chin in and tuck your tailbone. When you're doing 10 of those, once you've done your 10 of those, you're then going to stand up, stand with your feet a little wider than you would usually stand, and you're going to do some crucifix bends. So start with your arms out as if you've been crucified, and then from there, bending down to one side, taking your hands towards the inside of your foot, and back up, and then the same on the other side. You're going to alternate that, and you can do 10 of those in total. You don't need to do loads, just keep them slowish and standing back up. Once you've done your 10 of those, you can have a little rest. The next part's the strengthening part. So those areas that might be a little weaker, that might in the end contribute to some back pain. So we're going to run through 6 or 7 exercises. The equipment that you're going to need, you're probably going to need a weight, so that doesn't need to be a kettlebell. If you've got a weight, dumbbell, whatever it is, as long as it's less than 8 kilos, you can use that. You could just be using something like, I don't know, a big milk bottle, something along those lines, just to add a little bit of weight. You need a band, ideally. These are quite easy to get hold of and they're fairly cheap. You don't need one of these, you can do this off a step, so it could be the bottom step on your stairs, it could be your doorstep. Ideally something soft, doesn't need to be a mat, could be a cushion, but you're probably going to need another cushion or a ball for one of the exercises as well. So if you make sure you've got all of those, you can pause me if you need to, but make sure you've got all those things. First exercise you're going to do is you're going to do 10 reverse flies. So whatever strength band you feel like you can use, you could double up this band, you could use one single bit of it, but from there you're going to make sure your hands start slightly higher than shoulder height. Keep your bum tucked in and keep your rib cage pulled down, so don't let your ribs flare up as you're doing this. And you're going to pull the band apart and slightly down, so your hands are moving slightly downwards, keeping your arms stiff and pulling them out to the sides. You're trying not to do a row, you're pulling out to the side, and you're going to do 10 slow and controlled ones of those. Once you've done those, you're then going to do a half kneeling twist. So you need a wall, whichever leg is closest to the wall, that's the knee that you're going to kneel with. And when you're kneeling on that side, try and keep your heel of that leg against the wall. Other side, other leg, you're going to pin something. This is where you might need a ball or another cushion, but you're going to pin this against the wall with your opposite knee. So you're pinning that against the wall. Inside arm should be straight out in front of you, and then your other arm, you're going to twist as far around as you can, keeping this pinned against the wall and coming back round. So that back heel should be touching the wall and your front knee should be staying forward. If you don't have anything to pin against the wall, you can imagine you've got something pinned against the wall. Just make sure you're really driving that knee in towards the wall the whole time. If you really want to make that harder, you can hold your band and stretch your band as you twist. But you're going to do 10 one side and then 10 the other side. Next is Jefferson curls. So this is where you're going to need your weight and a step. Jefferson curl is a bit like the roll downs you're doing at the start, only you're adding a little bit of weight. So like I said earlier, no more than 8 kilos. Get your toes right to the edge, as if you were about to dive into a swimming pool. Holding the weight somewhere in front of you. If you've got dumbbells, I suppose you could be using 2, as long as they don't add up to more than 8 kilos. And then you're going to tuck your chin towards your chest like you did with the roll downs, hunch your shoulders forwards. You're going to try and take the weight as close to the floor as you can, and then return. So chin to your chest, punching forward. You try and keep your legs stiff again, so they don't have to be locked straight. Slight bend is fine, but make sure you're not bending them on the way down. Make sure you're getting that stretch through your back and your hamstrings and back up. 10 of those. Once you're doing 10 of those, you could use 2 weights in your hands, or you could use a band. It's just to get a little weight through your spine as you're flexing, but you're going to do side bends. So if you're using a band, hold the ends, stand up with it, and again you're trying to hold a neutral position with your back, so you're not trying to overarch your back, you're not trying to round your back. Try and stay as upright as you can, and then from there you're going to go slowly as far over as you can one way, and then as far over the other way as you can. And just keep alternating those. Go for 20. Try and get as far over as you can, just so you're getting some lateral flexion of your spine. After you've done your 20 of those, you're going to go for tall plank shoulder taps. So you're going to try and resist any rotation of your spine. So this is an anti-rotation movement. So you're going to get yourself into a press-up position. You can have your feet as wide as your hands. Try and have your hands under your shoulders, and then from there, you're going to squeeze your bum, squeeze your abs, tap your opposite shoulder with your hand. Try and return your hand to under your shoulder, not somewhere out in front, and try not to start sticking your bum in the air. One other thing that might help is to have your feet wider to help stop any twisting as you're doing it. So, tapping your shoulder, again, should be slow and controlled. You're going to go for 20 of those. And once you're doing 20 of those, you're then going to go into hip bridges. So that's lying back. You want your feet about hip width apart, and you want your knees bent about 90 degrees. So don't have your feet tucked right into your bum. Don't have your feet miles away. Somewhere about 90 degrees. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then from there, you're going to think about tucking your bum in, lifting your bum off the floor, so your bum's squeezed as tight as you can. And then from there, you're going to try and maintain your hip position, lift one foot off the floor, other foot off the floor, and then lower back down. So just tuck your bum up, lift one foot off the floor, lift the other foot off the floor, and return. You're going to go for 10 of those, and they should be at that speed. So it's lift, squeeze tight as you can, one foot off, other foot off, and back down. 10 of those. That's your strengthening section. The final part is a stretcher. So it's holding stretches for a little longer than you would usually have done before. And you can start with a neck stretch, so specifically kind of down one side of the back. You're going to take one hand and you're going to stick it behind your back to the other side of your bum. You're going to try and keep this shoulder as low down as you can. So you're trying to pull away from your ear with that shoulder. Tilt your head away from that shoulder and then drop your chin towards your chest. And if that's already a big stretch, you can hold it there. But if not, you're going to just pull gently, not hard, on your head. And you should feel like it's pulling down here. And you're going to aim for 20 seconds-ish, holding in that position. Once you've done 20 seconds holding one side, same thing, so it's other hand behind your back, to the other side of your bum. Keep that shoulder down and back. Tilt your head away, drop your chin to your chest, and just gently pull so you're really stretching out down one side. And again, you're going to hold that for 20 seconds. Once you've done both sides, you can then do this kneeling or sitting. I'm going to sit down on this. You're going to hug your chest as tight as you can. And then from there, you're going to twist as far around normally as you can. Hold for a few seconds. Twist as far around the other way as you can. Hold for a few seconds. You might not be able to get very far. It's really isolating of your mid-back. So you're just going to try and hold and twist. And if you go for 10 of those, so 5 each direction, just hold in for a few seconds each time at each side. From there, you're then going to go on to a child's pose, but you're going to really focus on one side of your back. So when you do this, hands out in front of you, kneeling down, you can sit back on your heels and then take one hand and reach as far over as you can over the other hand and hold that position. So again, hold in for about 20 seconds. Try and keep your head tucked in. Really reach as far as you can with that arm that's going across your body. And try and tuck your bum in as much as you can. And you're going to rock forwards, sit back, tuck your head in. Same thing, reach over with the opposite arm. And hold for another 20 seconds. From there, you're going to go for a couch stretch, which you might just do on the floor, so it's more of a hip flexor stretch, But to get a real big stretch up your thigh and into your hip flexors, you could do this off the couch, especially if it's a low enough couch. If you want to, you could do it at the bottom of the stairs if there's space, but make sure you're kneeling on something soft. So you're going to go 1 foot forward, 1 foot back up on whatever it is you're resting it on. From there, you're going to try and tilt your pelvis back, so tuck your bum right in, so you're getting a big stretch here. If you want to, you can reach as high as you can. You should feel that stretch a little bit more in your hip. And if you want to take it a little further, lean back slightly. You don't need to lean back too far. You should be getting a big stretch up this leg. So you're going to hold that again for 20 seconds and then switching it over. So other foot up, knee down, tuck your bum in so you get that stretch up one side. You might find one side's tight the other. For me it's this side. Again, reach as high as you can. If that's already a big stretch, you don't need to lean back, but leaning back slightly if you want to make it a stronger stretch of your thigh. Once you've done your 20 seconds there, you're going to go for a figure 4 stretch. So you're going to cross one ankle across the other knee, and then from there, grab your thigh and pull it, and hold that position. So as far as you feel like you can pull it in, hold in that position. If you want to, you can wrap something around your leg and pull on that. But 20 seconds holding, so you're getting that stretch outside of your hip into your glutes, and then same on the other side, other ankle across, grab your thigh, pull it in, hold for another 20 seconds. From there, you can stay on your back, and you're going to lie on your back, one leg straight out along the floor, other knee pulling in tight into your chest. Hold for 20 seconds, same on the other side. If you want to add another stretch in, you can hug both knees into your chest and hold. But once you're doing 20 seconds on both sides of those, and maybe 20 seconds hugging both in, you're then going to go for a lying T-spine, which is the last one. So it's get yourself into a T shape. If you take one knee up, take it across your body as far as you can, and look out towards your hand on the other side. Hold that for 20 seconds. Once you've done that, back to that T shape, one knee up, take that knee across your body, look over to the other hand. Try and relax. Try and keep both shoulders down on the floor. And once you're done with that, you can rest.